Hi, this is Robert Badaracco here with a report on the profile of a likely terrorist. The Department of Homeland Security has been profiling Americans as likely terrorists, and they've been basically taking the political beliefs of their opponents and then saying those are the people that would be terrorists. It's kind of Orwellian, I guess, in nature. Let's just go through the list of things that they say make you a likely terrorist. Suspicious of centralized authority. If you're a liberty lover, you're a likely terrorist. If you think your way of life is under attack. If you're nationalistic, anti-global, suspicious of federal authority, reverent of individual liberty, or believe in conspiracy theories, you are a likely terrorist. So basically, and I believe somewhere they mention if you're wearing a John Deere cap. So I guess these guys here could be likely terrorists. And I'm sure they hired someone on the neighborhood snitch to report on them. Okay, let's just keep going. It turns out you're more likely to be killed by your own furniture than by terrorism. So I find that pretty interesting. Let's just keep going. I've got to let you make some of the conclusions here. I wanted to talk about where the real terrorism is. Okay, false flag, and I don't want to get into anything that somebody might think was conspiracy theory. So I'm just going to go with Wikipedia. It seemed to me most people would accept Wikipedia as a source of information. So in 1953, the Iranian coup d'etat was a consequence of a U.S.-British orchestrated false flag operation. And we basically took out, by the way, their democratically elected president and put in a dictator who did lots of terrible things to the Iranians, and then we put Saddam Hussein in charge, and then we gave Saddam Hussein chemical weapons, and then he used them to commit genocide, and then we gave him more chemical weapons, which were then used against the Iranians, and then now we want to go to war against Iran again, but that's a little bit of a divergence. Operation Northwoods was a plot by the U.S. Department of Defense for war with Cuba. And it involved all kinds of intricate things. I'm going quickly, so I'm going on. The United States government actually created Al-Qaeda. Check it out on Reality Check. Okay, the United States government admits arming Mexican drug gangs with 30,000 firearms. It is now widely reported fact that under the Obama administration, U.S. federal agents actively placed over 30,000 fully functional weapons into the hands of Mexican drug gangs, then halted all surveillance and tracking activities of where those weapons were going. And basically this is not a conspiracy theory because it's a fact, which is even reported by the mainstream media. Evidently the purpose of it so that the weapons could cross back into America, and I don't know. I'll let you research it, but it certainly borders on being terroristic to arm Mexican drug gangs. Okay, I'd like to go on to democide. There have been and this again is Wikipedia, 262 million victims of democide in the last century. Okay, so now let's recall the terrorism that the Department of Homeland Security is concerned about is the same amount of danger as being killed by your own furniture. But governments have killed 262 million people. So I'm trying to put this in perspective as to what we should be worried about here and who we should be worried about so that we don't get manipulated by propaganda. On to the next article. And in addition to democide, I want to point out another group of terrorists which again are, by the way, democide is always carried out by people in the government. But what about psychiatrists? They have a way of being involved in the incarceration of dissidents, and that's taking place in America now also, by the way. There's been several cases. I don't know if you paid attention to that, but I'm right now just going to report on the cases in Russia. Many prominent Soviet dissidents had been incarcerated after having been diagnosed with sluggishly progressing schizophrenia. And this again is Wikipedia. And again, another article on Wikipedia. Just look it up. There's actually 3 articles there about psychiatrists involved in human rights abuses, where they expand the definition of mental disease to include political disobedience. And again, that is starting to happen in America now. People that say things that they interpret in a certain way are now being taken to psychologists to be basically intimidated and evaluated. I want to get back to who I think the real terrorists are. Congresswoman, TSA hiring pedophiles to conduct pat-downs. See, to me, especially if it's more likely that you're killed by your own furniture than a terrorist, then maybe this would actually be terrorism. Is these people are terrorizing us, groping our genitals, groping our children. I don't see how any man could allow this to happen to his family. And allow these people to do this. But evidently I've read that most Americans are actually happy with the TSA. So I find that amazing. Let's just keep going on to the next article. So, we think that the 262 million people that governments killed, couldn't happen in America. Well, then why is DHS purchasing 750 million rounds of ammo? And that's on top of previous purchases. And this is all documented, okay? This is all documented. I have the PDF of the purchase, okay, right here. You can find, just look it up. You can find all this on the internet, okay? And look at this, I'm just pick a random place. Let's see if I can get a big caliber just for fun. I don't know really that much about guns, but so it's all these things are 66,000, 220,000, and it goes on for pages and pages and pages. I don't even know what half of this stuff is, but it includes hollow point ammunition, which is outlawed by the Hague Conference. Here's .40 Smith & Wesson, 2,824,000. Why does the Department of Homeland Security need this? And how many Americans are they going to kill to protect us from something that is just as likely or the same amount as likely as being killed by your own furniture? But then governments have killed 262 million people, so it seems to me the risk of getting killed is just exponentially worse, that we're going to get killed by our very own DHS than by our own furniture or by terrorists who might be hiding under our furniture. Okay, on to next article. DHS, this one's fascinating to me. Using Boston subway system to test new sensors for biological agents. That's the positive way of saying it, because I'm on the Homeland Security Newswire. What they did is they released a bioagent, or they're planning to release a bioagent into the subways, and you can make your own interpretation. So, in my mind, the real terrorists, it's not these John Deere guys. I'm not too afraid of them, because at most they kill no more people than furniture kills people. But I think most of the supposed terrorist operations that aren't false flag, and I don't have anything at all. I mean, it's not even done by people wearing John Deere caps, is it? Okay, so let's just go that way. There's a psychologist. Look at this guy. Just look at this guy. You could be evaluated by this guy and then put in a mental institution because you believe in freedom, or you have an irrational fear of centralized government. All right. So to me, the psychologists are the terrorists. Here's some TSA officers. These are likely terrorists because they're actually, doing something. They're actually groping people. They're actually groping children. That's an act of terror. Okay? So it's onwards. Here's some hollow point bullets, outlawed by the Geneva Convention, but purchased by the DHS, 1.4 billion to be used against American citizens. Okay? Here's a likely terrorist. Janet Napolitano. She's a likely terrorist. Okay? More likely terrorists. Here we go. This has all of them at once. And they're laughing about killing us. They're laughing about it. So there's your profile of likely terrorists.